Here are all of the books that I read in 2025 that either I DNF'd, I was disappointed by, or they just weren't good. My name is Oshina, and on this channel I do talk about all of the books that I recommend. Usually I talk about Christian fiction, romance, young adult, all with different content and spice ratings. And these are all of the books that I read this year that had content I didn't agree with, or I just didn't enjoy the story. I thought it wasn't well written, or it just was boring, or whatever it is. So I'm gonna go by genre, and I'm gonna tell you why I didn't like these books. Of course, if you liked these books, amazing, that's great. I hope that you continue to love these books. They're just not for me, and I'm gonna explain why. And maybe this will just be a caution for you if you haven't read these books. Maybe steer clear from these if we have similar taste, because yeah, a lot of these books I just would not recommend, and hopefully I'll never have to talk about again on my channel after this video. Starting with Christian fiction, there are a few that were pretty disappointing, and the first one is Come Back to Me by Jody Hedlund. This is kind of a contemporary dual timeline story. You follow this girl, her dad's a scientist, and he is looking for holy water because he believes that it'll heal either the sister or someone. Someone has cancer and they're trying to heal it with holy water. And they're Christians, they believe in God. That's nice. He gets into a coma, so his daughter goes to stay with him and take care of him. She finds his holy water research, starts researching it as well, and she finds holy water, drinks it, and then gets transported to medieval times. That's literally on the back of the book. That's what the book is about. It's kind of, I guess you could say dual timeline. It's not dual timeline, it's like dual time. What? You follow this daughter in medieval times trying to find more holy waters so that she can get back to her original time and save her dad. And then you follow kind of the present time of the people trying to figure out why now she's in a coma, because she drinks holy water and goes into a coma as well. So all these things, you guys, I just found that premise strange. And then what killed it was the romance. She does have a romance with a guy in the medieval times, but it was just awkward. The whole holy water storyline just wasn't for me. So I did give this, I think, 2 stars. It was a letdown. Next, Christian fiction. I think this is Christian fiction. It's Freefall by Kristen Heitzmann. This book I just found so slow. Like the writing just, the whole story dragged on. It has such a cool premise, but I just did not like the execution. It was way too slow, and I ended up DNFing it, so I don't even know how it ends. But from my vague memory, because I didn't read a ton of it, because I was just like, I don't want to read this. But you follow this girl who loses her memory, and she's trying to find her uncle, and she like goes to this kind of like, I think, indigenous town, and they're like skeptical of her. They're trying to figure out her identity, and that's all I got. And it just was so slow. So slow. I guess I would say it's boring, like wouldn't recommend. Last Christian fiction DNF is Jewel of the Nile by Tessa Afshar. I almost don't want to talk about this book because Tessa Afshar is a beloved author everywhere, like on Bookstagram and on BookTube, like, and I love some of her books too. I've given some of her books 5 stars, but this book, I just did not care for the storyline. I didn't care for the characters. And I don't really remember it because it's actually, I think it's the first book I tried to read in 2025 and I DNF'd it, which is so sad. From what I remember, you follow this girl who I think she stows away on a ship, and that could have been so interesting, but everything that was happening was just not interesting to me, and I didn't care about the story. I barely remember anything about it, but I did DNF it. And it was my first ever DNF with this author because most of her books I've given 4 or 5 stars, but this was a random one-off. So it kind of turned me off from reading her books, but I definitely still will because I've seen a lot of hype for her like newer releases. So onto just contemporary romance now. First book is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. I did start to read this, I think, in January, February, and I did DNF it because it was just so sexual, really. Like, it was all about that, the characters having these feelings for each other, and then it was really awkward because there was a scene that the characters were talking about what they would do to each other, but they weren't actually doing it. They were just talking about it, but it was so strange. And I felt like it was Sarah Adams like trying to put more spice in her books without saying that there's actual spice, because they were literally just talking, but they were saying, then I would do this, then I would do this. And I was like, no. I stopped it right then because I'm like, I do not like where she's going with her books. I'm not reading any more of her books because I was very turned off by that. So don't recommend that. DNF. So the next up is The Love Haters by Katherine Center. This was a very much disappointment for me because I was hoping to like this book. I really like the cover design of her new covers, but she's going very cutesy rom-com, and I just do not like the characters or really the relationship banter in these kind of newer rom-com books that she has. And this one, yeah, I did DNF it because it started out with a lot of talk about body image, and not in a way that I felt like I could see like some growth there. It felt more so that it was just talking about it for the sake of having, I don't even know, like a trigger warning or like something different about it. And then the setup for the romance just was not interesting me. So I DNF'd it because I was like, whatever, I don't want to read this. Because what was the book last year? The book from 2024, was it The Rom-Commers? Yeah, The Rom-Commers was a letdown in that sense as well. I did actually finish and read that book, but I gave it 3 stars because, again, the romance just did not do it for me. I didn't like the characters or, yeah, their relationship. And then same with this book, but I didn't finish it because I was like, oh, it's another one of those things. So I kind of am gonna stop reading her books now too. Her backlist is amazing, but her more recent releases I'm just not liking, so that's really too bad. And lastly, for contemporary romance is It's a Love Story by Annabel Monaghan. This book, I just didn't like the romance once again. I just don't like it when I'm looking for 2 confident, consenting adults that can communicate and talk about their feelings, and I want that like healthy relationship to be displayed. When one character is struggling with themselves, I personally don't want to see them sleeping with someone before they've figured themselves out. I know in real life it's accurate, but for my personal reading taste, I don't like that message that it's not a big deal to sleep with someone and it'll make you feel better, when I know that's not true. So that's the thing. That's what kind of happened with this book. It is kind of, it's fade to black, closed door-ish, but the way the romance was, it felt like she was like realizing her worth by sleeping with this guy. And then on top of that though, it felt like it came out of nowhere because the setup for their relationship and the setup for what kind of person she is, it didn't make sense to me that she would feel comfortable sleeping with him at the point that she did in the book. So there you go. I know that's kind of random, but that is my opinion on that book. So yeah, that was 3 stars. It is in a reading vlog, and I forgot to say, if I have any reading vlogs for these books that I did over the year, I'll link them down below if you want to see more in-depth thoughts. We are now at young adult. So here we go. I have 2 books to hold up. First is Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. I did share this in a wrap-up recently, so I'll link below whatever videos I have for this book. I DNF'd this book. There was so much language, so many F-bombs, multiple per page. It was actually so off-putting that I was appalled that there was that much in this book. It was so unnecessary. It was such a low-quality way of writing. I can't emphasize enough how many F words are in this book and how low quality it made the book. The story may have been decent, but I couldn't get past all the F-bombs, so DNF'd that, don't recommend. Now we're kind of in like fantasy-ish young adult. So next up is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I did DNF this book because, again, didn't like the relationship. It's a fairy book where this guy is a fairy and I think she's a human, or she has like magical powers, but she's a human, and they're on the run together kind of, and the dynamic was just too much. I didn't like how it was just classic where it's this like 100,000 million year old fairy guy, so, and he's brooding and whatever, and he's dangerous, but this sweet human girl who doesn't know any better has a soft spot for him, he has a soft spot for her, and they whatever. I don't like that setup at all. That is not what I think we should be reading. I don't think it's healthy. I don't like that because okay. Similar is The Rose Bargain by, forget the author, but this book, the writing was good. I was into the story. I liked the writing. However, this has an open door scene. It is young adults, but it's fairies, and it has an open door scene that was so inappropriate for it to be young adult. Like, if it was adult, fine, whatever. But for young adult, the way it was described, I was so horrified that this is in a young adult book and that teenagers would be reading this. Because he's a fairy, she's a human, fairies are in human land, and there's like this magic, whatever, and it's similar to The Selection, where they're trying to find a new queen for the prince, and it was the open door scene that made it so bad. Like, otherwise the story was interesting and the writing was good, but that scene. So I will not be reading any more books from this author or in this series. I think it's a duology or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, don't recommend that one. Another one that just didn't work for me is Awakened by Roseanna M. White. This was such a letdown for me. I did recently describe this, but basically I thought the world building was too much. I thought it was overdone, and we didn't get enough character analysis or just character description. I felt like I didn't really know our characters. They were just talking about the world to world build. And just on top of that, the overall premise was kind of just nothing special to me. I didn't find the characters interesting, all of that. So yeah, I DNF'd this book, and that's about that. One I was let down by is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I don't think this book was very interesting. The plot was boring to me. It was boring. I can't believe I'm saying that, because I loved Sunrise on the Reaping and I loved the original trilogy, but this book, it was just so boring. It was so boring. I did not care about President Snow. There was just a bunch of like talking about politics and like, I don't even know. It was just, I can't describe it other than it wasn't for me, and I gave it like 2 stars. Next. Oh, we have Fearless, you guys. This is the most epic letdown of the year I've had, I feel like, in my entire time on YouTube, which is 10 years. In all 10 years, I have never been more disappointed in a book than in this book. Honestly, this is my top worst book of the year that I actually read. I read the whole thing. I have a whole video for this book. If you want to see me ranting about this book, I have a video for that. I'll link it. This was so poorly written, so poorly plotted, so poorly executed. I can't emphasize enough what a departure from Powerless this book is. The magic of Powerless is nowhere to be found in this book, okay? The only glimmer that we have is when we're in Kai's perspective for a few times. The few times we're in Kai's perspective, I could feel the Powerless magic. Otherwise, every other character, every other perspective, a mess. It was so bad. So there you go. Epic letdown. I actually enjoy talking about it because I don't like it so much. So I will say that. There you go. That's what I can say. And then closely after that is Fearful. This book. This book should not exist. This was a waste of time. It was so pointless. It did not add anything to any of the characters that it was following. It just made one character even more twisted and ruined. Like, it truly ruined this one character. I mean, Fearless thoroughly ruined a character, but he was even more ruined in Fearful, if you can even believe it. So there you go. That's all I can say, and goodbye. Okay, I'm so sad to say that. I feel like I should have ended with that book, but there's more, you guys. Hold on. Oh, okay, you know what? We're actually ending with one that I'm also equally mad about. Maybe not equally. I'm definitely like very mad about. I'm like fuming over Fearless. But okay, Heartless Hunter. This book is so bad. Do not read it. The content is completely inappropriate for young adults. I can't believe it passed any kind of editing test. That is quite dramatic. I'm not judging anyone who likes this book or has read it, okay? But I'm saying that, first of all, witches with magic The magic is blood magic. She uses her period blood to cast spells. Super weird. Then there is an open door scene, fully open door, in this book. And those two things, I was like, how is this a young adult book? The only young about it is that they are young people. They're like 17. But the content in the book, personally, I also found the writing not that good, but who even cares about that? It is the blood magic and the open door scene. So bad. So bad. And kind of evil, like the magic goes evil. There's witches. Okay. And so, yeah, what a bad letdown. And people talk about the romance in this book. No. So, wow. There are my hot takes. Did I get everything? I think I did. I didn't talk about Caraval. I'm not that disappointed by it. Actually, I am a little bit. I'll just say that. Sure, we'll end on like a soft note. I recently posted a reading vlog reading the Caraval trilogy. I read Caraval and then I DNF'd Legendary. I explained why, but again, the writing style, the world building, the characters, the storyline didn't work for me. Don't like it. And one piece of content in Legendary that I got to, I don't think is appropriate for young teenagers to be reading, so I DNF'd at that point. Caraval, I don't think is inappropriate, but I didn't like the story, so that was 2 stars for me, but there you go. I'm not going to read any more from this author. She's not for me, but that is my final disappointment / worst book of 2025. So I got this video out of the way. We're going to move on to all of my favorites. The rest of the videos are going to be favorites. But here are the books that I think you should avoid / I didn't like / anti-recommendations, okay? I hope this is helpful. I hope this is entertaining. This is why I do this video. I find it personally interesting to hear books that people don't like because I want to hear why and I want to figure out if I would like the book even if they didn't. So yeah, again, hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to write all the books down below. I'll link videos down below and stick around. I've got more Bookmas style videos coming for the rest of December. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, and let me know your worst book of 2025. I'd love to rant with you in the comments. Let's be kind though, okay? Be kind, but you can rant a little bit, okay?